Larry Kudlow got lost in his own talking points discussing the economy. Here he is talking to Laura Ingraham. This is hilarious.
Long-term unemployment, 27 weeks or more unemployment. So that's, think of it as 6 months or so. That is not falling. It has not fallen at all. It's stuck at 4.2 million. And I think that's because unemployment benefits are too generous and too long. So you're getting structural unemployment because the incentives are not to work. But I will say this, Laura, all is not lost. There's some optimism. Wages went up a lot, so that's really good. I don't think it had a thing to do with stimulus, but wages went up a lot. My point is this. Biden can blame whoever he wants to blame. The public sees right through it. It's phony baloney. There is no crisis. There is no health care crisis. Thanks to Trump, there is no COVID crisis. Thanks to Trump, we have low taxes and regulations. There is no house on fire. The economy is not crashing. Global warming is not an existential threat.
But Larry,
all these pillars, there is no logic or facts to defend Biden's assertions, and I think that's important.
That's amazing. So I just showed you some little snippets of this interview. The whole thing is hilarious because they keep going back and forth, Laura Ingraham and Larry Kudlow, from saying, oh my God, this jobs report is terrible, and Biden is doing a terrible job with the economy. Isn't he an idiot? Let's attack him. He owns this bad economy. They go back and forth between that and saying, actually, the economy's great, it's in great shape, and we give credit to Trump because the economy's in great shape. You do realize you can't have it both ways. Either the economy's good or the economy's bad. You can't say it's good and give credit to Trump because it's good, and it's bad, and blame Biden because it's bad. They're getting lost in their own talking points. It's one of the most hilarious interviews I've ever seen. Larry Kudlow is like the epitome of somebody who's in over his head, who he thinks he's a genius, but he's a total mess, has contradictory beliefs, he's been wrong about virtually everything. I mean, this is a guy who said, oh, there is going to be no downturn right before the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. That's who Larry Kudlow is. So some of my favorite parts here, he says, unemployment benefits are too generous and too long. So in other words, this is the standard thing they do now. Hey, instead of incentivizing people to go back to work by them raising wages, which would get more people to work, instead of that, say, oh no, the problem is we're giving people too much of a safety net, too much help for them to be able to afford their baby formula and diapers and keep the lights on. So take away the unemployment insurance, take away the stimulus checks, take away the help, and force them back into the market where they will make less money for actually working. Why would anybody do that? No. You should raise the wages, and that'll get people to start working. Don't take away the bare minimum help that people are getting. Don't do that. Can't do that. But that's his opinion. Hey, we should screw people over more because that'll help the economy. Hey, screw over Americans who are in desperate need of assistance because I just want to force them into shitty low-wage jobs. He's telling on himself here, man. He's telling on himself. Then I love this part. Quote, wages went up. It didn't have anything to do with stimulus. I'm pretty sure it had everything to do with stimulus, Larry. Everything to do with stimulus. Then, quote, there is no crisis. There is no healthcare crisis. There is no COVID crisis. I can't. This guy's the dumbest. I'm not even getting into the hit on climate change or whatever. There is no crisis. There is no healthcare crisis. There is no COVID crisis. There's no crisis? You do realize that in this country, we have tens of millions of uninsured people. You do realize that people are still dying every 5 or 6 days. We have a 9/11 worth of people dying from COVID. There is no COVID crisis. There is no healthcare crisis. And then he does the only thing he really knows how to do and the only thing he really believes, which is eventually he redirects back to, well, isn't it great when we cut taxes and did deregulation? No, actually, that's one of the biggest things you did wrong, is they cut taxes mostly for the wealthy. 83% of the benefits of their tax bill in 2017 went to the top 1%. So that was a problem. And the deregulation is horrendous. Some of the deregulation they did, for example, they reduced clean water and air protections. Is that something to brag about? They destroyed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's a bureau that returned billions of dollars to defrauded Americans, protected Americans over big financial institutions. They gutted that. They got rid of the regulations and the lawsuits against predatory payday lenders. That's the deregulation that they did. Sure, let Wall Street do whatever the fuck they want. We don't fucking care. Deregulate, cut taxes on the rich, and act like that's, the best thing anybody ever did, and attack Biden for the economy being shitty and give Trump for the economy being great all at the same time. This guy's a fucking jackass, man. He really is. Larry Kudlow, one of the guys who's wrong about everything.